Hi, I am Shree. I am your educator for English, grade 11 and 12. I hope you can hear me. Let me know if I'm here. It is 6:08 Zakir. Hello to, oh my god, so many texts. Good evening. Okay. I'm not entirely sure what is happening in the chats, but there seems to have been a lot of conversation, which is good. I hope you were entertaining yourselves while I wasn't here. Good evening. Good evening to Muskan and Zakir. I'm gonna give you the quiz code immediately. Sorry for being late. You know my laptop. You know the issues that it brings up. Today we're doing a quiz on Ranga's marriage, and I'm gonna send you the code for the quiz over here. You can go to menti.com and sort of just log into this quiz while I'm talking to you about Unacademy. There is an app that Unacademy has. I assume all of you know about it by now, but you can go download it off of Google Play Store or Apple App Store, and it has a lot of really cool features on it, all of which you can try for free. One of those is the How to Ask a Doubt feature. You can basically click on Ask a Doubt and ask any doubt that you have to educators, and they'll reply to you on it. So you should go ahead and take advantage of this How to Ask a Doubt feature and get all of your doubts cleared, especially if you have exams coming up, or you want to just revise something, or something you taught in school wasn't very clear to you. The quiz code is at the top of the screen all the time. You can just use it. It's right there. It's here. 87034349. There's also something called Unacademy Plus that you can subscribe to, which is basically an expanded version of YouTube classes, except a lot more material, a lot more study things that you get, such as PDF copies of things that people have taught you, practice tests, live tests, doubt clearing sessions, which we don't do on YouTube, and access to a lot more courses than are on YouTube. So for more thorough revision of grade 11 and 12 portions, you can get an Unacademy Plus subscription, and these are the costs. The per month costs are a lot less if you take the subscription for a lot longer. There's also something called Unacademy Iconic, and Iconic is basically for people who want to sort of learn on their own and don't want to work with a group of people. So if you're into individual learning, then Unacademy Iconic is what you should go for. And Unacademy Iconic will basically give you access to one-on-one learning experiences with educators. Doubt clearing will happen. You'll get progress reports about how you're doing. These are the costs of Unacademy Iconic. The per month cost again is a lot less if you take it for a lot longer. Yes, Zakir, I can see that the code has not been supported. Let me see what's up with that. I'm gonna open the quiz and let's see if okay, 87034349. That is the right code, Zakir. You should be oh yeah, it's not started, Zakir, but you should be able to use the code. It's not wrong, right? It doesn't say it's wrong. So okay, if you're all good to go, let me know in the chat and I will go ahead and start. Oh, you are Shaista. Alright, hello. Hi to Adesh Vikul also. Okay, I will go ahead and start then. And as always, our I see we're all animals today. I got a unicorn earlier at 3 p.m. I was very happy when I saw somebody chose like the unicorn profile. Okay, so the first thing is, classic question, name the author, and clearly everybody knows who the author is. That was really fast. Yeah, it is Masti Venkatesha Iyengar. He is the author of Ranga's Marriage. We have an extract question coming up now, which is basically, I'm going to read the extract for you, and then you're basically going to answer a couple of questions based on it. When you see this title, some of you may ask, Ranga's Marriage? Why not Ranganada Vivaha or Ranganada Vijaya? Well, yes. I know I could have used some other mouth-filling one like Jagannatha Vijaya or Girija Kalyana. But then this is not about Jagannatha's victory or Girija's wedding. It's about our own Ranga's marriage, and hence no fancy title. Good job, Muskan. Why is the title Ranga's Marriage? And you have 4 options, and you can go ahead and choose them. Alright, 3 people chose the right answer and 1 person chose the wrong one. The right answer here is that the narrator is basically trying to create some sort of familiarity with the reader. There's a sort of intimacy that's being set up between the narrator and the reader, and there's a reason for that, and we have another question about that, so I won't give away what the reason is yet. Well, I'm glad to hear you're finding it easy, Muskan. Shaista, you found it tough. Yeah, you refers to the readers in this particular case. It doesn't refer to the narrator. The narrator very much is I. The first person point of view narration is taking place here, and I is the narrator, and there is a name to the narrator. And do you know who the narrator is? What's the name of the narrator? Hello, Neeraj. Can I call you Neeraj? Or should I call you like Prajapati or... Oh, wow. Okay. I here is Shyama. We only get to know the name of the narrator later into the story, but his name is Shyama. So Shyama is the first person like narrator who is talking to the readers here, and he is very much talking to the readers, right? There is an immense sort of conversational quality to this story, by which I simply mean that there is someone who is directly like addressing the reader here, right? And so it feels almost like this entire story is sort of taking place as a conversation between the narrator and the reader. Adesh, no, it isn't Venkatesh here actually, because I said identify I, and in this particular case, so in some cases the author is I, right? But in some cases the author and the narrator are different people. If it's a personal account that the author is writing, then I will be the author. For instance, We're Not Afraid to Die, If We Can Be Together is written by Gordon Cook, and it's about his life. So I there is Gordon Cook. But here, Masti is writing about a completely different person. It's another character that he's created, who he is writing from the perspective of, and that person is Shyama. So very much the narrator in this particular case is not the same as the author. You should all generally keep an eye out for that, because the author and the narrator aren't always the same. It really depends on like the story, whether it's fictional or whether it's a real life account. So be a little careful about that one. Yes, the story is very much set in Hosahalli. It's not set in Velachery. Velachery is this tiny locality in Chennai, but Hosahalli is in Mysore in Karnataka, and that is very much where this story is set. And Masti is actually a Kannada writer. So the English version of this story that we're reading isn't the original. No, Annayya, I have left that to you. Running around like a flea-pestered dog is not for me. Name the speaker. Oh wow, variety of responses. In this particular case, the speaker is Dr. Gundabhatta. What's happening in this context is that Shama is basically trying to tell the reader, Hosahalli is like the best place in Mysore, right? It's the heart of Mysore. It's beautiful. And he's like, ask anybody, ask even like Dr. Gundabhatta, who's gone to different places, and even he will tell you that Hosahalli is the best. So in the process of that, he also says he hasn't gone to like England though. And if people ask him if he's gone to England, you know what he says? And this is what Dr. Gundabhatta says. He says, no, I've left that to you. Running around like a flea-pestered dog is not for me. So it is Dr. Gundabhatta who is speaking in this particular moment. It's the only scene in which he appears. So name the poetic device here. Yes, to those of you who said there is a simile in that line, you would be correct. And the simile would be like a flea-pestered dog. Simile is a poetic device in which a comparison is being made quite directly between two things. Generally involves the use of the word like or as or something like that. And here too there is a simile at play. Metaphors are also comparisons, but they don't have like or as in them. They sort of just implicitly like make a connection between two things. So what does this mean? Like a flea-pestered dog. It's a very curious phrase. Yeah, everyone's right on this one. It does mean that like traveling is compared to like running around like a dog with fleas, because you know you can't sit still in one place. You're kind of just going around everywhere all the time. You don't have the capacity to stay still. And it is also being compared a little bit to like a disease. Flea-pestered dogs aren't like happy creatures. You know, they're being bothered by the fleas. So very much this act of being unable to stay still in one place is considered to be a bad thing, right? By Dr. Gundabhatta at least, and by the narrator most definitely. He thinks we should be better than all of this, and that we should be, you know, we shouldn't like travel that much. Muskan, what is a rapid menti? Do you mean like reduce the time and like make it like 15 seconds or something like that? You know, we should do that tomorrow actually, because we're doing an all hornbill like menti for an hour tomorrow, and making the time like less for each question is a good idea. Thanks, Muskan. Oh no. Okay, Hosahalli is being compared to the filling of the Karigadabu. The Karigadabu is a sweet, right? So what's happening in like the paragraph in which this analogy is taking place is that the narrator says Oh, India is the feast. In the feast, Mysore is the sweet, the karigadabu, and the inside of the sweet is Hosahalli. So the most special part of Mysore is Hosahalli, and Hosahalli is the filling of the karigadabu. Yeah, so that's the like bigger analogy that's taking place. We are on question 10, which means we are almost, well, we are more than 1/3 way through the quiz. Why is the mango of Hosahalli considered to be very special? Is this one giving you all trouble? Yeah, it is super sour. It's so sour that the narrator says once, we ate it and it gave all of us a cough, because that's how much it like went to our throats. And if you eat it, it'll go straight to your head, which is to say it's really like sharply sour, and you'll feel the sharpness as soon as you bite into it. You're all dropping in and out of the quiz, huh? I'm thinking it's your internet connection probably. Why does everybody crowd outside the accountant's house to see Ranga? Ranga is the accountant's son, as we know. He's been sent to Bangalore to study, as we know, and he's just come back home. He's gone to an English school. Everyone is like very curious. They've like crowded outside the house, and there are like 4 options as to why they are so curious about seeing Ranga. Okay, that's one of the right answers. They definitely want to see if he has changed after being away. But a little bit, it's also the fact that they are incredibly fascinated, because he's the first to go to Bangalore and study, right? So they're sort of like, oh my god, look at this person who is so strange and like has done this thing that none of us have done. So that kind of like fascination with something that's alien, different. So yeah, part of it is the fact that he's just returned from Bangalore. They're not actually like very eager to hear his English. I don't think they care very much about his English at all. So there's like a little event in the story in which there's a woman who's selling firewood to Rama Rao's son, and in the process Rama Rao's son says some word to her, and the woman goes away like extremely confused because of the word that Rama Rao's son uses. And what is that word? Siddharth, you can Google it. There are like a lot of websites that give like sample papers. There are also like some things on the Unacademy app. You can like download the Unacademy Learner app, go look up like class 11, and then you'll be able to like find some people doing like full on like live tests, practicing like an entire sample paper for like grade 11. So yeah, that's a good option. Yeah, it is very much change. What's happening is, the woman's like, it's 4 paise worth, like give me 4 paise for firewood, and Rama Rao's son is like, I don't have change, come back tomorrow. And we all know what change means, but the woman does not. Are you sure, Siddharth? Because recently people have been like doing MCQ only practice on the Unacademy Learners app, I mean. Why does the narrator tell us about the incident with the woman who sells firewood to Rama Rao's son? What's the point of telling all of us this story? Yeah, whoever said all the above, you are definitely correct. Part of it is because he's trying to tell us how people just casually use English these days. Part of it is because he's trying to say how like the the times have changed and now people casually use English these days, and they casually like put English words in the middle of their Kannada like speaking. And so it's all of the above, and very much the narrator is like extremely displeased by the situation, right? He doesn't like this. Attracted by the crowd, I too went and stood in the courtyard and asked, why have all these people come? There's no performing monkey here. A boy, a fellow without any brains, said, loud enough for everyone to hear, what are you doing here then? And first question is, Adesh, I show the leaderboard at the very end. Why does the narrator make the comment about performing monkeys? Is he just mean? Is he trying to disperse the crowd? Because, you know, he knows that Ranga probably will have to come out and deal with them, and he spreads with Ranga. Or is he mocking the crowd for being there? Or is it really all of it? Okay, it is not all of the above. He is not trying to help Ranga out. He is also not mean, so I'm glad nobody like picked that one up. But he is most definitely mocking the crowd, right? He's like, oh, there's nothing special here. Why are you all acting like this is oh so special? So he's being like very sarcastic at the crowd. He's trying to be like, stop being like this, you know? So he's criticizing them for their behavior. Very indirectly. As though he's making a joke, you know? People do that. Why does he call that boy brainless? Yeah, exactly. The narrator is one of those people who just doesn't like it when people criticize him. He'll criticize everyone, but that doesn't mean that people should criticize him. He really reminds me of like one of those, you know, those typical like ideas that we have about like people in our neighborhood who can be extremely interfering and really like annoying because of their interfering ways and their judgmental ways. You know that character, that like it's a trope, right, in fiction. Yeah, he definitely judges people based on how they treat him. He doesn't really like, he's not very objective about it. He likes Ranga because Ranga is extremely respectful to him. He praises Ranga because Ranga treats him well. He judges this boy because the boy like honestly, bluntly tells him what you're doing is the same thing that you're sort of criticizing everybody here for. So yeah, very much what we see in the narrator here is this willingness to criticize other people and dislike other people if they say things that he does not like. We're getting through this quiz really quickly actually today. Yeah, it is very much Ratna. That is the person who the narrator has decided is the perfect bride for Ranga. And why is it that Ranga does not want to marry? Is he afraid of the commitment? Does he only want to marry someone he likes? Does he just not like the women that he's met? Or does he want to marry a girl who's older? If there are multiple options that you think are correct, you can pick all of them. Yeah, you're definitely right. That's one of the reasons he wants to marry a girl who's older. But he also wants to marry someone who he likes, right? So Ranga really becomes, well, in this story, the story is set in older times when child marriage was incredibly common, right? So Ranga would be expected to marry someone who is much younger than him, and Ranga would also be expected to marry whoever like his parents chose for him, right? But he's sort of like, I'm not interested in these things. I want to marry someone who's older and who's mature, and I also want to marry someone who I can actually like get along with, because otherwise, like, why bother marrying at all? So even though Ranga seems like he hasn't really changed after his experiences in Bangalore, at least from the outside, something in his mind has changed, right? He no longer wants to live in these ways that are familiar and usual in Hosahalli. Why does the narrator offer to send buttermilk to Rama Rao? He fully goes to Rama Rao's house and he's like, I'll send you buttermilk. Why does he do that? Is he just being polite? Is he trying to flatter her into letting Ranga marry Ratna? Is he trying to pay her back for like sending him firewood? Or is he trying to sneakily get Ratna and Ranga to meet? Yeah, that's the right answer. He's basically like, he goes over and he's like, oh, I'll send you buttermilk. Will you send Ratna to my house to get the buttermilk? So he's setting up Ratna to be like sent to his house, and at the same time he basically like sends for Ranga, and Ranga also comes to his house. So Ratna and Ranga meet. We only have 7 more questions. What about Ratna fascinates Ranga? Upon seeing her, he immediately sort of likes her. And why is that? Okay, it's actually not all the above. It's just her singing, right? He sort of like is at the threshold and he hears this voice and he's like, oh my god, the voice is so beautiful, and then he sort of like peeps in to see who's singing. So yeah, it's just the singing that fascinates Ranga. So it's this like one characteristic that he catches on to, and he's sort of like, I'm interested. Insta love is the worst stroke. Well, sometimes, yes, definitely. There's another extract question. Who's that inside? The lion wanted to know. The he-goat who had taken shelter in the temple replied, does it matter who I am? I'm a poor animal who has already eaten 9 lions. I have vowed to eat 1 more. Tell me, are you male or female? The lion fled the place in fear, it seems. Okay, and our first question is... Yeah, Adesh, only 6 more questions. We'll be done pretty soon. Who is the lion? Or more appropriately, who does the lion refer to here? Okay, it refers to Ranga, and we'll talk about why that is in a couple of questions. You're welcome, Bharat. I'm not sure what you're thanking me for, but you're welcome. Who is the goat? Okay, no. It's Shama who is the goat, and we will talk about why after you answer the next question. Why does the narrator tell this story? It's such a strange story to bring into the middle of his conversation with Ranga, but he tells us this story like right in the middle without giving us any reason as to why. But despite of him not telling us what the reason is, there is a reason. And what is it? Hi, Muskan. Yeah, it's basically to indicate how. So in the story, what happens is a goat tricks a lion, right? Just like that, here, Shyama is very much tricking Ranga, and so Shyama becomes the goat and Ranga becomes the lion. Ranga takes the bait and gets trapped, just like the lion believes the goat and gets trapped and runs away, right? So he is making an analogy here. He's comparing like that story to what's happening in like his life and Ranga's life in that moment. Another extract question. Ranga admitted, there's greater truth in that Shastra than we imagine. What he said is absolutely true. Question 24, and we're really like getting through this quickly today. Is the Shastri good at astrology? Is the Shastra good? You know, that's the question. Oh no, you missed 10 questions, Muskan. Was it your internet connection? Aha, a conflict. The Shastri is not good at astrology, and we'll talk about why. It's okay, Muskan. Oh no. It's absolutely okay. You can like try the rest of the questions with us. We're doing more quizzes tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Shyama has planned this entire thing with him, right? So what Shyama does is in the morning he goes to the Shastri and he's like, okay, look, here are all the details, here is everything you need to say. I'm going to bring Ranga to you like at this point of time in the afternoon. In the afternoon, therefore, when he takes like Ranga to Shastri and the Shastri like tells Ranga everything that's on his mind, it's almost as though the Shastra is right. And Ranga, who doesn't know that like all this background planning has happened, very much like believes that the Shastra is right and that the Shastri is good at astrology. But we know, because we're reading all of this from Shyama's point of view, that in fact the Shastri is absolutely not good at astrology at all, right? It's just that he and Shyama have sort of pre-planned all of this, they've prepared, and they've sort of like they've gotten like all of this set up in advance. So they're just acting in front of Ranga. Yes, Muskan, you are very regular. I very much appreciate it. It's always nice to see you. Hi, Shri. Oh, we kind of share like the end of our names. Nice to meet you. Are you here to join our quiz? We're almost done. So I'm not sure there is much left to join, but you can sort of like hang around and watch us finish it off. What is the narrator's elaborate plan? Tell us. It tells us all of the above. He is determined. He also very much wants to have his own way. He is also like quite sly and quite clever, right? He's come up with an entire strategy. He's plotted out like different bits of it to get Ranga and Ratna to marry, and by the end of it, it really does happen. So he successfully fulfills whatever he sets out to do, and he does it without Ranga suspecting like a thing, and without Ratna also suspecting a thing. This is also what makes me call him like that interfering neighbor, you know, gets involved in your life and tries to sort it out for you without like actually asking you if that's what you want. Hi, Amisha. We're on our very last question. The story is told long after the actual events in the story take place. How many years after? So the narrator makes it very clear that this is something that has happened in the past, right? It happened like some time ago. When did it happen is the question. How many years has it been since like Ranga and Ratna? Okay. Yeah, the right answer is 10 years. The narrator is telling us the story 10 years after it took place. So the present day is 10 years after like Ranga and Ratna got married. They now have like a child who is 3 years old. So they are, so it's been quite a successful match. Oh wow, we've had like quite a bunch of people today. I think people just like kept getting kicked out. And Tanu is at the top. So congratulations to Tanu, and thanks to so many people for being here today and like joining in. I had a lot of fun. I hope all of you had fun too, and congratulations also to everyone else who took the quiz. That ended really soon. I can hang around for a couple of minutes if you have any questions that you want to ask me or anything like that. Yeah, Muskan. Oh, good job, Shree. Muskan, you were third anyway, so good stuff. Okay, well, one last thing to tell you all, and that is that we are doing an all like Hornbill quiz tomorrow at 3 p.m. So come by to like do like a full revision of your Hornbill portions for term 1 tomorrow at 3 p.m. Okay? Thank you all for being here. And I will see you again tomorrow. If you like today's session, do leave a like and subscribe if you're looking for more content.